전 세계 선교지 소식을 전해드리는 월드리포트입니다. 한 어린아이의 놀라운 기도가 자신뿐 아니라 가족 전체의 인생을 변화시켰고 하나님의 역사는 계속됐습니다. 콜롬비아 선교사 러셀 스텐달의 얘기 전해드립니다. 콜롬비아 무장혁명군의 인질로 잡히기도 했던 그는 55년째 콜롬비아에서 사역하고 있습니다. 그의 선교에 대한 꿈은 4살 때 시작됐습니다.
Well, my dad wanted to broaden my young horizons, so I was about 4. He bought a picture book on his way home from work, but he got the wrong book. He thought he had something like National Geographic, nice pictures, you know. He bought a book called The Awakening Valley, a freelance Life magazine photographer, and it showed it like it was, and it wasn't pretty. The hard work, the poverty, the drunkenness, the despair, the machete fights. That last picture was really haunting. The guy was all bloodied and banged up and drunk in the ditch. He'd wasted all the money that they'd made. They didn't have anything. They were just going home with nothing from Market Town. 6 or 8 little kids, malnourished, little pot bellies full of worms, wife with a hopeless look on her face. And the caption said, "These people have no hope." And so I said to my dad, "Why do they live like that?" And my dad said, "Well, I guess they don't know any better." Well, why don't they know any better? Well, no one's gone to tell them about the Lord Jesus Christ. Well, why hasn't anyone gone? Well, no one really cares enough for these people. No one loves them enough to go share the gospel with them. Well, you care, don't you, Dad? He said, "Yeah, I care." Well, why don't we go help them?
Wow.
And so by now this is going in a direction Dad hadn't counted on, and so he didn't know what to do. You know, he had a nice job and with the government and working on a big construction project, but he'd wanted to teach me about missions, so he finally said, "Well, maybe when you grow up, Russ, you can be a missionary." But it didn't end there. He'd been teaching me to pray, so I climbed off his lap and knelt down and prayed in a loud enough voice so my mother heard it all the way in the kitchen. And I prayed in a loud voice and said, "Dear God, please call my parents to be missionaries so I won't have to wait till I grow up." And my mom says she remembers hearing that little prayer all the way to the kitchen, and she thought, and my dad thought at the same time, "Oh no, that one's going through. That prayer's going to get answered." You know?
Yes.
그리고 그 기도가 응답되기까지 4년이 걸렸습니다.
My dad resigned his job, took further training, got a master's degree in linguistics and anthropology, and went to Columbia with the Wycliffe Bible translators.
스텐달은 인도주의 활동에 관심이 커지면서 비행사 면허를 취득했습니다.
Well, you know, our heroes as kids growing up mission field, of course, was the missionary pilots, you know.
그러나 인도주의의 활동을 하던 중 콜롬비아 무장혁명군에 납치당했습니다.
Yeah, I'd kind of to have a meeting to help the people, and it was a setup, and I got kidnapped. But I'd been praying that God would send the gospel to the FARC guerrillas very intensely for about 6 months. And then when I got captured and tied to a tree in the middle of their camp, and I was asking the Lord why He hadn't protected me, the answer that kind of came to me was, well, I'd been the one that had been praying that the gospel would be sent to these men and women. And so here I was. So I better, you know, start evangelizing them, you know.
이 경험은 그에게 큰 전환점이 됐습니다.
In the middle of this kidnapping, the highest ranking FARC guerrilla that was one of this, belonged to this indigenous pious group, got a hold of the top leader of the guerrillas and told him that they were making a terrible mistake. That our family had done a lot for the indigenous peoples of Colombia, and that this was wrong. And got the guy to actually admit that he was making a mistake and came over and freed me at the end of 5 months.
반군 지역에 성경과 라디오를 전하며 라디오 사역을 시작했습니다.
They said it couldn't be done. When I was kidnapped, I saw that they each carried a little shortwave receiver. And so I wanted to put in shortwave radio that could cover all of Colombia. And they said, "You're just a little missionary family. And I mean, you can't do that. Not even big missions can do that." In fact, Colombia's big radio chains have taken all their shortwave stations off the air because they don't want to sustain them. It's too costly for them to sustain them. We built a homemade shortwave transmitter.
스텐달 선교사의 단파 라디오 사역은 갤콤이란 라디오 제작사와 협력하면서 실현됐습니다. 그리고 후원을 받아 태양열 라디오 12만 개를 제작했습니다. 콜롬비아의 모든 반군단체에 뿌려진 라디오는 큰 변화를 일으켰고 일부 지역에선 수십 년간 이어진 폭력을 끝내기도 했습니다. 지금까지 CBN과 함께하는 월드리포트였습니다.